Hello everybody, and we are going to look at the Harmonia section of Omnisphere today. It's one way of getting more depth to your sound with very little effort. And what we're going to start with is a very simple patch. I've loaded up a sample, atmosphere strings. I've engaged Harmonia. There's two ways of engaging Harmonia. You can either click on the little light here underneath, or click on the HRM itself and click on the button, whichever way. It does exactly the same thing, switches it on. You are then presented with the mix volume, which decides how much of the Harmonia effect actually gets to your sound, or what it does to your sound. We'll show that in a moment. Then you have 4 different slots for Harmonia, followed by the volume levels and a way of panning the sound to the left and to the right. The magic, though, is, let's reset that button here. The magic is in this bit here. Now, if I click on that, this allows me to replicate that particular sound either an octave or 2 octaves higher or an octave or 2 octaves lower. What do I mean by that? Well, if I just set that as 0 and engage the first slot, that is literally doubling the sound, because if I turn that off, that's what it sounds like on its own. That's what it sounds like with it. So I'm basically doubling the note. Now what I can do is if I change that to a +12, so I'm going up an octave, so I'll play middle C again, but behind the scenes it's also going to play the note C an octave higher. And if I go crazy and say 2 octaves higher, and I can do the same going lower, so I want a deeper sound. And then what you can do with this is say, I want it an octave higher. I also want to double the sound itself. And I also want it to play an octave lower. So now I get a nice thick sound. Now if I disengage all these slots, and then if I re-engage them all, so you get a nice breath to your sound without, like I say, with very little effort. So if I hold this note down, C again, that's what the mix does. It determines how much of this note spreading actually comes through on your actual final mix. And you can modulate that if you wish to with an LFO, so you can do some sound design with that. You also can modulate the individual volume sliders. And what you can do, sadly can't modulate these because otherwise it will be a right trippy effect if you could do this. And that is you can actually pan each of these layers to the left or right. So if I turn that to the extreme and turn that to the left and that to the full right, you get a really wide soundscape. Now if you could actually modulate those so they actually move backwards and forwards at different rates, that would be amazing. To centralize these again, if you hold Command on the keyboard on your Mac, I think it's Control on a PC, and just click, it will take you straight to the middle. So it doesn't matter where you are, if you move that dial to the left, right a bit, sorry, and click on it, it'll take you back to the default setting of straight up. Now a little bit more on these little bits here, what all these numbers actually mean, because 0 is the note itself, so that's playing me. If I just do it in the C major scale, it's easy to explain. That will be a C. Now if I go one note up, that's going to play a C sharp for me. So if I just disengage that a second, then it doesn't get confusing. I'm getting rid of all these. So that's my normal note. Now if I engage the first slot, it's also going to play that note at the same time. It's going to sound dreadful, but for demonstration purposes. So what he's going to do is just to play a semitone higher, and that's what these numbers actually mean. So that's one semitone higher is going to give me C sharp, two semitones higher is going to give me a D. So if I play a C and a D together, that's what it's going to do. It's playing a C and a D, even though I'm just pressing C. If I go up then to 4, that gives me an E. So if I disengage that, that's like me playing that. Now if I go and count 7 notes up, I'll go 1, turn that off, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I thought for a minute, my maths have gone wrong. I know 7 is my 5th note of the scale, which is G. So what you can do, if you really want to play a major chord on every single note, could set that to play my 5th note, that to play my root, and that to play my 3rd. Now I am playing a C major chord with one finger, which is really interesting. Now, say as you're working all that out, the presets do come with these already in. You've got chordal, major chord, minor chord, suspended chords, so you could actually use Harmonia to play the chords in that way. You can also detune them slightly as well, so if you want to be somewhere between the 7th note and the 6th note of the scale, you can move it. Hear that? And that is modulatable. You can actually modulate that if you so wish, so you can add a bit of pitch drift in there. Now this section does not work on samples. There's no way of actually using this section on samples. To engage that section, you need to go and change it to synth. So if we stick with source square bright still, good old default patch, we all know and love. We'll go to Harmonia again. I'll just reset those because I have been playing with this. I don't want to give the game away too much. So when it's set to OSC, it means it's going to play the same type of waveform that the synth main screen is set to. So it's going to play a source square bright in this bit here. And it's going to be slightly out of phase. That's what these little wavy lines here means. That's slightly out of phase, out, and that's in phase. So that sort of adds a bit more to your sound design capabilities. Now, what you can do is change the oscillator type itself. So what will happen is, when I change this, you will still use source square bright as your root sound. So that won't change. So if I play a note C, that sound will always be there. But I can change the sound that's going to play an octave higher. So I can change the oscillator and go into here and say, look, what I want in there, I want something that's edgy. So I'm going to say, I don't know, JD key waves. Okay. That is not a source square bright that's playing an octave higher. That's the source square bright, and if I play an octave higher, that's what it should sound like, but I'm not. I'm actually getting the JD key waves waveform playing the octave higher. So you could go crazy on this and say, right, that root note, when I play middle C, I also want to play a solid German at the same time as my source square bright. And then, an octave lower, I want to have something, let's go sub oscillator, an Andromeda sub. Now these controls here, shape, symmetry, etc., unfortunately can't modulate these. I wish you could, that would be even more sound design mayhem going on. But these replicate what happens on here. What I mean by replicate, it means it will, sorry, I keep going into the view there. It will alter these waveforms in the manner that these controls do. So if I change shape, you can see how it changes the shape of the waveform. Now if I change symmetry, likewise, then hard sync. Okay? Done it again. If I do change these, it will not change any of the controls on this page for source square bright. What I mean by this is, right, if I just, sorry, I keep doing that, I keep going the wrong one. So if I just turn these off, I leave this one on. So I want to change that shape a bit. And if I turn this off, that's the main source square bright playing, but now I've got a modified JD key waves waveform playing an octave higher. Do the same with a solid German. And then the same with Andromeda sub. Come back to the front screen and say, right, I'll put a filter on. I'll have a low pass. Let's go for, I know, a rich and moogie or mogi, whichever one you call it. Turn the filter down so I get a nicer pluck. We've got a nice pluck. And all you need to do is go into the FX, turn on a bit of delay. Let's go mad. Put a bit of, tell you what, put a bit of chorus in there as well. And I want a bit of 80s. Let's go for, let's have an 80s type chorus sound. And there you go, you got a nice little pluck sound. And now if I turn Harmonia off, and then with Harmonia on, so that's a quick whistle stop tour through what Harmonia can actually do to your sound and how you can use it to design patches. What I've designed there is very basic, but you can get the idea what you can actually do with this. So if you enjoy this video, this little whistle put my teeth in here, whistle stop tour, then please give the video a thumbs up. Ding that bell in the top corner there and you'll be notified when the next video is up. And please subscribe to the channel. It does let me know, and also YouTube know, that you like this content and you would like to see more to do with Omnisphere. And I will catch you in the next video. Until next time.